the building becomes autonomous. It has a wallet, and you can program the wallet to pay the reward, but you can also imagine in the future it will pay the full transaction. Let's say you can program your building to say, if a window is broken and the repair can happen within this condition, 24 hours, the cost, the qualification of the person who's going to come, etc. You can program it so it's automated, and the payment can go wallet to wallet. So the building has a wallet and the service provider has a wallet, and the payment can occur, and you don't even need to bother anyone. It's all programmed.
Matthieu Mercadou, welcome to Digital Building.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, very excited for the conversation. Okay, tell us about Magma.
Magma is a platform for real estate. We call it a digital infrastructure for real estate. That means we provide the necessary infrastructure to digitize a building. So what that means is that a building has different source of information coming from different stakeholders. And so we want to unify them into one single source of trustworthy layer of information. And so we provide 3 environments for buildings to be represented. One is the data room. Another one is the BIM, building information modeling for architects and engineers. And the other one is a scan. And with that, we are able to produce a digital asset that we call the digital twin token. So we are based on the premise that the real estate is getting into a process of digital transformation. Every industry is going through this process, and real estate is also part of this process, meaning everything has a digital trace somewhere. And the goal of Magma is to make sure that this digital trace is trustworthy. That means you can execute. We are going into a world of artificial intelligence, AI agents, automation. So you want to make sure that these agents or these stakeholders that are working with trustworthy data so they can execute things. So we are using digital twins and blockchain to create this infrastructure. We can implement that infrastructure to any building, any type of building, commercial, residential, logistics. It's kind of an MRI of a building. So it gives you the base to develop all kinds of application. We call it Magma because it's the fusion. It's the fusion of data. Like I said, data is very scattered, and we make it into one single digital trustworthy asset that is finance ready. That means you can use it as collateral. You can share it with a lender, share it with for tokenization, a potential buyer, a city, etc. So that's why we call it Magma.
Amazing. I love it. I often describe the digital building as similar to the human body to help people understand, and that it has a brain, and then it has all of these other systems that feed into the brain, right? So can you dig into this a little bit more? I think everybody can probably understand the concept of having an AI brain, but tell us more about how you actually and you take all 3 of these layers to feed into the AI brain. Tell us more about that.
Yes. So first you need input. So when you have action in a building, you have different sort of input that come from different stakeholders. So we categorize first the stakeholders into 8 categories. So those are the main categories. They are the same everywhere in the world. So you have your owner. And usually the owner gives the building to manage to an asset manager. So the asset manager will take care of using the building as collateral, borrow money against the building, position the building in the market. He will hire most probably a property manager, some guy that is responsible for managing the property on a day-to-day basis and taking care of leasing, retrofits, compliance. And so this person is in charge of the building, and he will probably also have a facility manager, someone that is taking care of the equipment, also compliance for security, safety, access, energy consumption, these kind of things. Then you have the tenants. Then you have what we call observers. That would be someone that needs information, but not all. A potential buyer, an insurance company, the city, someone you want to give access to. Then you have the financial institutions. That can be a lender, it can be decentralized or a traditional bank. And you have the visitors, person that comes in and out of the building. They are less relevant than the other ones, but they're still one of the type. And then then you have the service providers. And the service providers, we have 40 categories. So it can go from a city inspector. A city inspector would be more an observer, but it can be an electrician, a plumber, landscape, attorney, whoever is touching the building. So first of all, you categorize who does what in the building, and they connect to the digital asset. So we screen them. So we KYC each of the stakeholder.
Okay.
And we make sure they are authorized to touch the digital assets, and we connect them to the digital representation of the building. And we connect the systems of the building. So they most probably will be using a property management software or a facility management software. A building will have a building management system. So we connect all of the systems together, and we create a layer on top of it that is the digital twin token. So we take all the systems, we connect them, and we created a validation protocol. That means each information that will go in that layer of information has to be validated. Otherwise, it doesn't go in the on-chain. So stakeholders are responsible for validation. So you always have at least one uploader and 1 or 2 or 3 validators. And once the information is validated, then it can be sent to that layer. It's encrypted first. We don't send the data raw. We encrypt it, so it's not accessible to everyone, and we just pick layers of metadata that we need, and that's the layer you will use for AI or for tokenization.
Yeah. Okay.
So you can use it at the scale of your building. Within your building, you ask questions of your building. So when is that lease expiring? If I want to do retrofits, how many windows do I have? What's the brand? What's the serial number? You can ask any type of question because it's connected to the system. So it's supposed to be pulling information from there. And so at the building level, you can ask AI to perform operation. And also at the portfolio level, if you have several buildings connected, then you can aggregate data between different buildings and use the DTT layer for a portfolio.
Okay. And what is DTT?
Digital twin token.
Okay, so that's how
that's our concept. That's what we invented. It's a encrypted digital layer of information from buildings.
And you're using smart contracts to do this, correct?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. And can you just briefly help the audience understand what a smart contract is?
So a smart contract is a contract, digital contract that is deployed on-chain using information that has been encrypted and minted on-chain. So that means if you think of a contract that needs events to be executed, if event 1 happens and event 2 happen, then event 3 can happen. So that the smart contract will execute only if the conditions are met. So that means all the requirements for the transaction to happen have been met on-chain. So it's a contract that happens on blockchain and depending on information that have been collected on-chain. So the DTT layer is a layer for smart contracts because it tells you who has done what and when. The electrician has done this in the building, the plumber has done this, so therefore I'm able to pull my certificate of occupancy, for example. So condition A and B are met, then C can occur.
Yeah,
that's a smart contract.
I love it. And it's so amazing. And this is really kind of a pivotal moment for me, to be honest, because I was sharing with you that in 2019 is when I fell down the rabbit hole of, I call it crypto, but really it's more the smart contract rabbit hole, where I started to realize how much commercial real estate would transform if this exact scenario is implemented, exactly what you're talking about. And I just assumed someone would create it, and you're the one.
Yes.
So like,
it's very difficult. I have to say, we've been at it for since 2017. I started having the same vision as you, almost at the same time. But it came as an idea. It became a smart city project for the city of Miami, which received the keys of the Miami-Dade County. So that really comforted me that we were on the right direction. When I was talking to city officials or government agencies, they were all sharing this kind of innovation and this infrastructure. And so the process was very long, because from an idea to what we have today, it took us 8 years.
Yeah.
So it's super complicated.
Sense.
It's very complicated. And we have a team of very, very efficient and very bright, smart professional. And it's very challenging, because data is coming from a lot of different sources.
That's right.
But there is no common ontology or common vocabulary from the different systems. So even sometimes you have the information, you have the data, you cannot deploy a smart contract, because the translation of an object or a thing in a building is not the same on two different systems. So that's why we came up with this extra layer of information that can be used using the same ontology. And so and it took time, because we deploy really like a MRI of a building. That's like an X-ray with all the components and the nuts and bolts and anything you can imagine in the building. We divide it in 5 index layers. Each index layer corresponds to elements of the building. So the first one is the data room. All the documents classified by type: ownership, technical, financial, insurance. So they are classified by type. And then you go into the 3D aspect of the building, because we live in a 3D world. We don't live in a 2D world. So everything can be represented in a 3D representation. So first you have like the skeleton of the building, which is the structure of the building, like you were comparing to a human body earlier. So that would be your skeleton as the foundation, the supporting wall. They go by certain rules for safety and bare wall calculation and all that. Then attached to that, you have the skin, which is the architecture. It's all the walls, the floors, the doors, the ornaments. And then inside that, you have what you can call the nervous system, which will be the mechanical, electrical, and plumbing, which we call the wired. So that's all the connections of your systems: plumbing, electrical, and so on, and the internet and networks. And then you have the furnitures. That's universal. Everywhere in the world, every building in the world has that infrastructure. Like every human body has the same architecture, infrastructure, the same goes for a building. So we went by this common denomination, and we created the DTT on this base. And then we started naming things inside the building: space, stakeholders, equipment, anything that can compose a building. And we created a framework so we can connect to the system, pull information, and validate the state of each of these items. Okay. And what state is the chiller or the electrical heater or the door or whatever. Right. So that's how we came to the creation of this DTT. And now, getting to implementation, it gets even more complicated, because now we have to connect to the actual system, and each building is different. Each building, you will use different systems. So we have to connect, and that's why we have partnerships. We are more of a back-end solution that offers those 3 environments, but we are partnering, for example, with a company called Aquila. Okay. Aquila is a facility management digital twin. So they do the day-to-day operation. So they would connect to the systems of the building. They will connect to the building management system. They will connect to the IoT, or they will eventually add some sensors in the building. Okay. So just for the audience, IoT is Internet of Things. And yes, Internet of Things. Yes. And that's the sensors. Sensors, correct. Yes. That's the sensors. That's your senses. If you want to keep the analogy of a body, it's your senses. Your smell, your taste, your ear. You have sensors that can monitor the heat for maintenance, for example, excessive heat of an equipment means potential failure, or excessive vibration means potential failure. Water quality, air quality, temperature, flow of people. You can add computer vision, facial recognition, crowd management. You can have all kinds of sensors. And so we use them to connect, and they are partner with Nvidia. So they are providing all the Nvidia environment, OpenUSD, crowd management, facial recognition, processing with the microchips. So they come with a full environment. And so we are partnering with them for the facility management aspect.
Okay, super. Yeah, definitely would love to have someone from Aquila on to help us understand that further, because that's a huge piece of this, of making it all work, right? So
definitely.
Wonderful. Yeah.
Definitely, yes.
Tell us about how you came to know that all of this was needed. What's your background? And then also tell us about winning the keys. That's amazing. So tell us everything.
My background is I did a postgraduate in international banking law at the Sorbonne University, 98. So that's quite a while ago. And then after my graduation, I wanted to do an internship in the US. So I was hired in a bank as an intern, and I really liked it. I was partner with a day trader. So it was at the end of the 90s, during the dot-com era, if you remember. And for the audience that old enough to remember that era, that was all the IPOs and the stock market debut of all the tech companies that saw the birth of the Amazons and the eBays of the world. And so we were the first to day trade those stocks. And that's what opened my mind to internet. And by the way, I have the same feeling that I had at the time, where it was the beginning of internet, and people had a very hard time understanding what was internet, because you were telling people, well, you are going to go from one computer to another computer, and you're going to send an email with some information and some videos in it. People were looking at us like, are you crazy, or what are you talking about?
Yeah.
And same with blockchain today. When we start to explain what a digital asset is, people look at us like crazy. So that's for the anecdote. But so finance, and then after 3 years doing that, our bank got bought out by UBS, Union Bank of Switzerland. And so I moved to banking in France. I moved to the UBS France. And so I worked with the real estate department of the bank. And that's how I came to real estate. So the combination of the two, and my experience in the stock market, plus the real estate, when I saw what was coming with blockchain and digital twins, it made it obvious for me. And I totally understood the concept of the digital assets. And so I started working on that. That was in 2017.
Okay. So quite a bit of experience in the analog world with real estate before you saw the opportunities here, right?
Over 15 years of real estate development or redevelopment. We would buy existing assets. So I went on my own after the bank. I went on my own and I created my company for 15 years. I bought properties and I renovated them. So I went through the whole process of sourcing a deal, getting the financing, buying the property, retrofitting, getting the permits, and then managing the operational. At some point, I had 50 apartments in Miami in extended stay, so weekly and daily rentals. It was the beginning of the Airbnbs. So it's from my experience. I went through all the challenges of going through this process and losing data, or understanding that every time you lose information, it's very costly. Whether you're looking for what an electrician has done in the building. If the electrician is not there, you pretty much have to open the walls.
Yeah, that's right.
You have a property manager that knows the property, knows everything about it, and sometimes he knows more than the actual owner. And if you lose the property manager, you have to relearn the property again.
Yeah.
And that's every time you do anything in a building, you're constantly looking for information. Who has the information? Is it up to date? Who is responsible for it? Yeah. And that's how you spend the most of your operating cost in real estate. And so when I met my partner, Cooper, who is a parametric architect, and he showed me what a digital twin is and what BIM, building information modeling, is, I went, wow, that's going to change our industry. And there is no reason that an asset that lasts 100 years doesn't have a digital representation for all its life cycle. Mm-hmm. If you think about it, it's stupid. Every time you change owner, you lose most of the information from the previous one, and you have to redo the work over and over again.
Yeah.
So that was my aha moment when I saw the digital twins. And then the blockchain component, I figured that, okay, now we have a way to notarize events, timestamp them, and make sure the provenance of the data. So now we can have trustworthy data in this digital representation of the building.
Can the building actually, and say the plumber's there, the plumber's like done their work, or electrician or whomever, can the building pay them?
Yes, that's a great question. We see buildings as living organisms. Mm-hmm. So what we do, we create this living, dynamic identity passport of the building that's constantly updated. And the stakeholders, the person who work, are connected to it. And whenever they do something, it's going to be recorded. And once they validate information inside Magma, that means the plumber has finished his work, maybe he's going to give you the serial number of the equipment he put in the building. Maybe he's going to give you the layouts and download it to the platform. Maybe he's going to give you the time he spent doing it. All kinds of information. When this information input is taken and when it's validated, he's going to receive rewards. So he's going to be rewarded for validation and input.
Okay.
That said, the reward is paid by the building itself. The building becomes autonomous. It has a wallet. Yes. And you can program the wallet to pay the reward, but you can also imagine in the future it will pay the full transaction. Let's say you can program your building to say, if a window is broken and the repair can happen within this condition, 24 hours or 48 hours, the cost, the qualification of the person who's going to come, etc. You can program it so it's automated, and the payment can go wallet to wallet. So the building has a wallet and the service provider has a wallet, and the payment can occur, and you don't even need to bother anyone. It's all programmed. If it fits, the smart contract make the payment.
Okay, so what you're talking about, everything that that Magma does is really what CBRE does, right? I mean, CBRE might do other things, right? I mean, they do a lot of things, but in general, this is a huge part of what they do. You mentioned that you believe that as AI starts to integrate AI and crypto, we're going to see kind of two roads, and that people who don't want to adopt it really don't have to and probably won't. And so we're going to kind of see these two pathways go. How do you see that specific to real estate?
Real estate is a very traditional industry, conservative. Most of the value in real estate is derived from the fact that someone has information that others don't. So it's not a place where you want to share information.
That's right.
Natively.
Yes.
People tend to be secret about the deals, and you always think that someone can buy your building regardless of his failure or his bad condition. So sharing information is not something that is natural. You will still have people that want to park their money in real estate, and they want to purchase a piece of real estate and they don't care if it's digitized. Some people might even don't want to digitize it. They want to keep it private and manage their own things. But some others that see the benefit of lowering their operating costs through energy optimization, through maintenance, predictive maintenance, through using data to better understand the market, using data to have more option on the retrofits of your building, being able to increase the rents of your buildings, have more possibilities, because also most of the owner of buildings they don't retrofit or they don't change the use because they don't have the information accessible.
That's right.
Maybe they have one or two person that is giving them advice, and those two person don't have enough knowledge to tell them what to do. Now, if you think in a digitized world and you can connect your building to different source of information, they can have access to your layouts and tell you this is how much it's going to cost you to retrofit, and then you will be able to upgrade your rent by 10, 20, 30%. Then the investment makes sense, and maybe you can even raise money through that platform on the public to help you do your retrofits. Maybe you can use debt, or maybe you want to sell 1 or 2 or 10% of your building only. Through tokenization. So these new possibilities will only happen on the digital rails. They're not available on the analog rails. So some might want to stay private on the analog rails, which is fine. And some might want to benefit from this all new world that is happening, and that they will go full digital.
Yeah, I can't wait to watch it come to fruition. So you said you're working with clients now. You have buildings that you're working on. Can you tell us more about that?
Yes. So we have one anchor client. There is a real estate fund in Paris that is a regulated fund by the French SEC.
Okay.
They want to digitize their whole portfolio. They understand the potential of tokenization, but they also understand that this is the market is not ready yet. So they understand that they need to digitize first to better understand their assets, to be able to prove to the buyers what they have and what they have done in the building, because they are a value-added fund. So that means they buy properties, they retrofit, and they reposition. So they use us to understand the asset and have a base to hand over to the client with a full traceability on all the stages of the retrofits, proof of the ESG components for environmental performance and all the compliance of the building. So they record that, and later on they will want to tokenize the assets. So that's our anchor client. We have delivered only one building to them, but we have 3 others in the pipeline that we are working on with them. They are partner with large banks in Europe, so we are also in talks with their ecosystem partners. And we have also tokenized 2 other assets in Paris, one small commercial center and one office building in Paris. That was as a test. And in the US, we have about 10 buildings in the pipeline.
Yay.
Commercial buildings, mainly. And we're also present in UAE, but we have a different approach there. We work with partners. So we are partnering with a large consulting firm and one engineering firm, because they already have a client base. And so they will help us penetrate the market that way.
Oh, that's exciting. Well, yeah, this has been so amazing to hear about what you're working on. And audience, would love if you would share this with a friend if you found it really interesting. Matthieu, thank you so much for filling us in on this amazing work you're doing. And I hope we can do it again in a year and you can tell us that you've,
Thank you. With pleasure. Anytime.
Yeah. All right. Thanks so much. Take care.
Thank you, Mandy. Thank you.